All right, everyone, welcome back from the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, March 25th, 2022. So markets closing the week on a positive note here. Yesterday, I gave you guys some targets based on a little intraday calculation. We hit those targets today, so I said 452 on the spiders. We got there, got up to 453, and just under 453 actually. And I gave you 361 on the triple Qs, which we basically, close enough for government work, right? So you got up to 360, 67, and it faded off the highs. I think they pushed it down probably due to the Friday options X, probably some calls at 360 they didn't want to pay out. But basically got up to that target there, and triple Q's pulled back a little bit. But ultimately, a nice look on the weekly time frame here. Spider stalling out at that 100-day moving average. And you get the sense that everybody's just kind of like waiting for a pullback to happen, but it just isn't quite there yet. But a nice weekly candle there. You are under the 20-week moving average. This is minor. But, it's noteworthy. Again, the markets are a little overbought, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily, going to sell off here. Yeah, again, the light volume, look at the just 68 million shares traded here on the spiders. That's including a little bit of after hours blocks going off. So it's just hard for sellers. It's hard to short this outside of, maybe scalping a little bit. It's just a tough environment right now. And, don't get me wrong, there will be a good time to short this market, and I'm waiting for that. But we're not quite there yet. Conditions just don't favor it right now. Now, who knows? Maybe there's some ridiculous news over the weekend. Maybe some NATO country joins the fight, and the market gaps down. That's possible. We're in a geopolitical. We're in a time where geopolitical events are in full swing, and the market's trying to react on its toes here. But so anything can happen. But overall, currently the market's in kind of a buoyant mode, and the light volume, you got to give it the upside bias. Take a look at, for instance, look at Apple here. I said that was going to get to 175 today. It did. And it's just still, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days in a row, green candles in a row here. This should have pulled back at multiple, I had multiple resistance areas where I thought this was going to pull back. I didn't get a sell signal on it, but just look at the resilience. I mean, Tesla, yeah, you could have shorted that level at 1037 I talked about, the 618. But, I mean, you're only 27 points in the money by today's close. So this market's really resilient. Look at the surge yesterday on NVIDIA. Nothing more than a little pause candle today, an inside pause candle. There's nothing wrong with that. Take a look at Amazon. So, just a little pullback off of this 200 moving average, nothing really major. And that's what happens when you have light volume out here. And even if we do get continued pullback in some of these bigger tech names, if you take a look at some of the mid caps and smaller caps and medium and, kind of large-ish caps, I guess, but the usual suspects like the ARC stocks, look at PayPal. That's a nice bull flag there. Zoom, that's a good bullish pattern there. Palantir, Roku, Square, these are all shaping up pretty decently for, a potential kind of like zigzag move up. And if these stocks all move together, which they typically do, look at ARC here, nice little, bullish consolidation, but beneath the 50 moving average, you can make a case there's an inverse head and shoulders building too. But if all these stocks typically trade together, and if they start to push higher, as Apple's and Tesla's pull back, that can still lift the triple Qs. So just because the big tech names are a little overbought doesn't mean that the triple Qs are necessarily going to sell off here. If those smaller names do get a bid, we'll talk about yields in a minute. But if yields start to pull back, that could also help out those names as well. We'll get into that later. Let's take a look at the Russell here. So Russell again, kind of just bullish consolidation on the daily. You're above the 50 and the 20. Again, still haven't got up to that 210 area. I think we have to satisfy that target. Possibly 212. I don't think it gets much through that though. In the Dow, again, kind of sloppy consolidation here, but a nice strong close to end the week. It's consolidating beneath these moving averages, which tells you that it's, there's accumulation going on and it's trying to move higher. I would think this probably maxes out around 355 though, if it does push up, at least for right now anyway. Anyways, let's flip over here. So we talked about the triple Qs. It is overbought, but I don't really see any problems here. Just kind of, grinding higher. Yeah, it could consolidate a little bit and maybe attack that 370 area. I don't think it gets through that, but, don't really see any problems here. Nice weekly close, strong move there. You do have resistance above, though, at that kind of necktie between the 50 and 20 moving average on the weekly. Inside of tech here, semiconductors, again, same thing. We talked about that falling wedge, nice breakout. Closed above the 200 yesterday. Did not confirm, so you didn't confirm that today, but ultimately nothing wrong with that. You closed above the 50-week moving average today, so semi's looking good. Broadcom had a nice breakout yesterday and confirmed that today. This will have a little resistance here. It's come into some red bars, but a nice base here. I like this base, and a nice little push higher there on Broadcom. Also AMD, we talked about that. That got a nice pop yesterday too, and it was lagging quite a bit. It still is, but it did join the party a little bit and pulled back today, but I think there's a little something wrong with AMD. I would avoid this name right now, so it's not participating in the rally as much as the other semis. IGV, same deal, choppy consolidation here. Looks like a lot of other things. I think I said 360 would be kind of your target if it does get up there. That has not changed, so nothing really too new to report there. Dow Transports, this is a very sharp looking chart right here. We talked about that inverse head and shoulders. They should get up to 17,000. I do have a buy trigger on this as of today's close. This looks really good here. Honestly, this is a nice chart. And that should get up to that 17,000 handle. Then you're going to run into a wall of resistance, but this looks really good. Bull flag, inside bar, above all 4 moving averages. Nothing wrong with that. Take a look at the jets here. This may have gotten a little bit of a premature pop. You couldn't close above this red bar high, so this may need to consolidate a little bit more, but this could pop up to potentially 22, and that would coincide with a move to probably 17,000 or so on the transports. Anyways, yields, so huge move on TNX here. TYX, same thing, higher high after that pullback, but did come off the highs. Now take a look at TLT. So this was red today, but it came way off the lows. So they did defend that 128 area. If we look on the weekly, actually, let's use the monthly. There's good support in here. So if you take just take a little trend line, this is where you had the bear flag kind of breakdown, and then you broke through that. Now you're back testing it, 100 moving average. So this is into some support. Doesn't mean it can't go a bit lower, maybe 126. But if bonds get a bid, that will potentially help tech. Again, I'm not convinced that yields are necessarily done yet. I still think that my long-term target on the 30-year has and continues to be 2.8. I said that a while ago. I said that months and months ago before we even really broke out. And I still think it can get up there, but it is a little overbought short term, so nothing to say it can't pull back here. It is getting a little ahead of itself, but overall, we'll continue to monitor this. If TLT gets a bid, it could obviously help those smaller tech names, like I suggested, that are all kind of flagging on the daily time frame. High yield, so not a good look here. It's not dead yet. It's not dead in the water, but that you don't want to see that kind of little bearish inside bar play out. It did reject that 20 moving average. So again, this could be a little bit of a canary. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Market seems to be climbing the wall of worry for now. And again, the volume's light, so it's not going to sell. We're not going to sell off with light volume, but watch this. If this starts to break down, it could spell trouble. All right, home builders also, we talked about how weak they are yesterday, and really we've been noticing that for a while. Same thing with ITB. These could be short setups in the future. Keep them on your radar. VNQ is a little bit stronger. Had a nice close today. Had that, close below that green bar on Wednesday, but had a nice recovery here. Nothing terrible overall. But again, the whole real estate sector is coming under issues here. Anyways, XLF here. Got a pop today, so we had that little sideways chop here. I don't know if this is ready to go just yet, but nice consolidation. Same thing with the broker dealers. JPM, nice little pattern here. It's a little sloppy, but nothing terrible. It's underneath that 50 moving average. That's going to be problematic. It's going to need to consolidate a little bit more if it wants to get through that. But Morgan Stanley looking okay, though. I like this little bullish pattern here. Again, beneath the 50 moving average, but nothing to say this can't pop up to 98, maybe 100. So not a terrible look there overall. XLE continues to power up here. And, it's holding trend. That's all I can say. It's overbought. It's stretched, however you want to call it. It's more than 20%. I think I said yesterday it's over 20% extended, or 20%. It's over 50% extended from its 20-month moving average, which is pretty ridiculous. You're into all these pivots up here. It's a lot of resistance. But, we're in, I think, kind of euphoria mode here with these energy stocks. But there's nothing to say they can't go higher for the moment. I will point this out. I showed this to the members earlier. Take a look at XOP. Kissing that 100-month moving average with a big wide range red bar. Big sell-off bars here. you're coming into from 2018. So there's a ton of resistance up here. Doesn't mean it can't pierce through that. And when you have heavy volume like we have had, often you will pierce through it. So nothing to say it can't go a little bit higher, but you are getting a little stretch there. The OIH does look a lot better. So you consolidated, you have all this chop here, which should be resistance, but you did consolidate for a while. So you put in a nice base, and that's why you're able to cut through that 50-month moving average. And on the weekly, in a pretty decent technical position. You're above all 4 weekly moving averages, and you're confirmed above the 200 week. So OIH in a little bit better shape. XOP is into some headwinds, and I just think XLE is just stretched, honestly. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but that's, what do I know? Hey, all right. Anyways, crude here. I said he would get up to 116. We did not short this. We did take SCO a few weeks ago, made some money on it. I did not short it this time. It just didn't really get a sell signal, and that looks like so far that was kind of the right decision, as you're getting a bounce off that 20 MA. So back tested that, and now it's holding up. Doesn't mean it can't have a lower high. Doesn't mean we can't get news. Obviously, you want to look for a lower high. If that happens, then it will probably go back down to these lows. But it had a nice close this week. Let's take a look at the weekly. So nothing terrible there on the weekly. That's a pretty strong rebound off that trend line. And, crude's holding trend, just like XLE. And the trend's getting strong here. It did have a absolute euphoric blow off, panic buy, but nothing to say it can't really attack these highs at some point. One thing is for sure, I will expect lots of volatility up and down in the energy markets, probably for the next, probably the next 2 quarters or so at least. But anyways, we'll continue to watch this. And, if this starts to flag up, it could, attack that 120, 125 level. But, if it rolls over, then it probably goes down to 100 or 95. Anyways, nat gas continuing to power up here into double top. It's going to run into resistance, but you did a major positive. And yesterday I said, watch that red bar high. We got above that. We're going to close above that. And hey, I think we still have some time here after hours. If this could still get up above 557, it's only 2 cents higher. You close above that red bar high, that would be a huge, huge positive for nat gas. And it probably gets up to 650 very quickly. A little upset I missed this move. I was looking for a little bit more consolidation here, but such is life anyways. Nice little pop there on nat gas. That looks to be on breakout. Dollar index, more of the same here. You're holding trend, kind of kissed that 20 MA, little test candle. It just needs to do a lot more backing and filling on the weekly. Anyways, over to gold here. So kind of a quiet day, a little inside candle. We closed above this red bar high, negating the inside bar yesterday, so that was a positive. The levels you got to watch here are this yellow and this gold trend line, and that is that monthly inside bar. And then we also have a quarterly, and this is going into, so the quarter ends next week, I believe, as does the month, obviously. So we'll watch these closing levels. If we close above either of these, that's a huge positive. If we close below both of them, that's a big negative for gold. So we'll be watching gold very closely next week. GDX did have a green day. It's kind of just holding trend right now. Sold off a little bit yesterday. Not too much going on there. Silver, kind of an inside day here. Still got that big red bar there. I think it's really all about gold, though, right now. Gold's really the leader, and we just got to watch those monthly and quarterly levels. SILJ, I still like this pattern. Still looks really good, so we'll see if that tells us more. Platinum, a bit of a rollover. Same thing with palladium. Not the greatest looks here, although this is into some good support. This will probably bounce here. I know that's kind of a bearish flag pattern, but that's really good support in that area. This looks like more of a test candle to me right now, at least in the near term. And copper, kind of neutral here. I don't like this close, though. I would have liked a green close this week. Like a close above 475 would have been it would have looked a lot stronger. I don't like how you kind of tested this 480 area and kind of got rejected, but we'll see what happens next week. We'll see if the market can tell us a little bit more. Anyways, let's go over the coins here. So coins, Ether, this looks like it wants to, this looks like it's putting in a pivot here. So I wouldn't be surprised on a little retrace, maybe to 3,000, maybe 2950. So somewhere in this range here, possibly lower. Maybe it goes down and back test 2,800. But, nice little wedge breakout. This does look like it did run into resistance up here at this pivot. So we'll see if it can put in a higher low, and then maybe it can attack this high. But overall, nothing terrible, but it just does look like it wants to reverse it here a little bit here. Bitcoin getting above this wedge, trend line yesterday. Again, this, you can make a case this This is just me drawing this line in there, so who knows if it's exact, but you are closing above it today. So we'll see what it does over the weekend. You know, if Ether pulls back, this probably pulls back too. But we'll have to watch. You know, maybe it just goes sideways and kind of confirms above this wedge. Again, 48K would be your max upside near term. And, you know, if you fail this breakout though, and you can't hold this lower trend line, this goes lower a lot, like very, very quickly. So just be aware of that. But for right now, it's holding trend and it's, you know, holding up okay. Anyways, so let's flip back over to the spider. So we did hit our targets. You know, I feel like everybody's kind of just waiting for a pullback here. Like everybody's kind of just like, all right, when's it going to happen? But right now, again, you know, with the light volume, there's nothing to say that we don't just go sideways. You know, we could easily just chop into the end of the month and then, you know, into April, maybe we can potentially make a leg up. You know, again, a week in this market is basically, it's like an eternity with all the geopolitical news that's going on. So who knows, we could have a completely different look, you know, going into next week. But for right now, market's holding up and we'll give it the upside bias for now. Anyways, guys, come find me on carnivoretrades.com. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you all next week.